I am sure that a major change of the rules for veterinary medicines can lead to more innovation, less administrative burdens, and more medicines on the European market. In addition, it holds the promise of better animal health and better public health. This is a significant opportunity, one that we must not fail to take.
This unequivocal commitment to streamlining veterinary medicines legislation from European Commissioner for Health and Consumer Policy John Dalli was music to the ears of most delegates to the IFAH-Europe Conference 2011 held in Brussels. Delegates represented stakeholders from the whole spectrum of animal health.
I welcome this morning members of the European Parliament, representatives from the Member State authorities, the Commission, press, the European Medicines Agency, representatives from the veterinary and farming sector, and sister industries, amongst others.
The conference theme was Veterinary Medicines Legislative Review, the Big Debate. And the keynote speaker in the opening session, Commissioner Dalli, discussed the One Health concept as well as issues concerning vaccination and was firm in his support for simplifying marketing authorization procedures to enhance innovation and availability.
This is a huge challenge to which everybody must rise. However, let us not forget, this challenge also provides a massive opportunity, an opportunity for all to engage in a fundamental rethink of the whole system of veterinary medicines. It is an opportunity to remold the model, to modernize and to improve it.
After his address to conference, the Commissioner amplified his comments.
The message has been very, very clear, and we heard it being repeated in this conference today. The stakeholders want an effective, efficient regulation system that avoids duplication and also reduces the hefty expense on administration. Today, as I have said, we calculate administration to be about 13% of the total turnover. This is too high.
From legislators to end users, Gwyn Jones, NFU Vice President, also representing Copa Cogeca, expressed his support for the 111 concept. One dossier, one assessment, one marketing authorization for Europe.
A centralised procedure, mandatory for all veterinary medicinal products, would allow farmers to really benefit from the internal market and ensure better transparency of the evaluation process, harmonisation of EU legislation, improved availability of products across the entire EU market, improved efficiency and predictability, and an accelerated decision-making process. It is for these reasons that we support the 111 concept.
The first session looked at the impact assessment and policy options for the review. In her presentation, Patricia Brunko, head of the pharmaceuticals unit at DG Sanco, underlined the contribution new legislation could make to innovation.
For us, innovation is something which is a key point in the process of the impact assessment which we are carrying out now, either directly by addressing some very specific points which may have a direct impact on innovation, let's say rewards for innovation, for example, and also indirectly, because what we are hoping to do is to reduce administrative burden so that the effort can be redirected on such a thing as innovation.
She explained the timeline, covered the processes involved, and the importance of accurate data collection and examination. A lively Q&A session followed, with questions and comments coming from a variety of stakeholders, including representatives of national veterinary medicines authorities.
I very much take on board the comment made by the Commission that this is our last chance to get it right. As somebody who's been working in the industry since 1987 as a regulator and who has been through a number of iterations of the regulatory procedure, we especially appreciate the frustration that everybody feels with the existing system.
My overall point then is, let's be very clear today where regulation can be changed and facilitate better availability of products. But let's not assume that all the solutions lie in altering regulations. Thank you.
The next session looked at the objectives of key stakeholders, and Jean-Pierre Oran, chair of the Heads of Medicines Agency's task force, talked about the HMA's vision for the future. Staying with the theme of vision for the future, Erik de Ridder of Elanco and IFAH-Europe looked at the reasons for a current decline in innovations.
It is also very clear that we have an issue that there is not enough innovation coming through. And part of the root cause of that is that there is not sufficient data protection.
He was also concerned with streamlining the process for harmonization of existing products in the 111 procedure.
It is critical that in this stage you avoid, since everything is approved and in compliance with European law, it's critical that you avoid having additional data and additional assessment. It is all assessed, it is all approved. That should be the basis of such an exercise.
Another stimulating Q&A session brought the morning's proceedings to a close. During the lunch break, we caught up with Gwyn Jones and IFAH-Europe Managing Director Declan O'Brien.
It's early days yet. There's still quite a way to go, and we've heard quite a lot of debate this morning and discussion. But at the moment, certainly not. It looks as if it's progress and much needed progress.
So in essence, you think that farmers would definitely support this?
Yes, I do. I don't see that farmers would have any issue with this, because it would make their lives easier. It would hopefully increase innovation. It would also hopefully make things easier for them to follow, and there would be a more simple procedure for them on farm.
I think the really big winners are going to be animal health and animal welfare, and people looking after animals, particularly vets and farmers, but also the owner of pets. So citizens in general will be winners because of increased availability of medicines and increased innovation in medicines. So as we look to the future, we're going to have medicines available across the 27 member states, but also because we reduce the administrative burden, I believe we'll be able to invest more in innovation, and so we will see more products coming to market to increase the ability that we have to protect the animal health and so animal welfare.
The afternoon was dedicated to a debate chaired by ex-BBC journalist and presenter Cathy Smith.
Clearly there's a consensus that something needs to be done, that there needs to be some streamlining of the process of bringing your products to market.
The panel was made up of Jean-Pierre Oran, Erik de Ridder, Brian Kilgallen of the Irish Permanent Representation, and Mario Naxam of the Pharmaceutical Unit, DG Health and Consumer Policy. 4 sessions covering innovation and data protection, simplified procedures, existing products and future decision-making were introduced by IFA Technical Director Rick Clayton, who summarised the positions of the various stakeholders. There was certainly no lack of questions and comments from the floor on issues including data protection for minor species and why data protection is supported by the generics industry.
Without new products, no new generics.
One delegate was concerned about the lack of product development to treat certain prevalent diseases.
Ever and ever we get answers, this is not possible, this is too expensive, and the animals will be killed, or the disease is not so severe anymore. But nobody does anything in this field.
Declan O'Brien thought it was time for a new approach in areas which were not commercially viable.
And we need to think in terms of solutions and creative solutions involving all of the parties involved, rather than saying, well, industry should do this, because if there is no financial incentive, it's not going to happen. And that's not a fault of industry. Of course, I would say that, wouldn't I? But I think there are other ways to solve this problem. We need to think of those other ways.
After each session, delegates could indicate their reaction to certain issues by raising green or red cards. Jan Varten of the FVE was concerned that withdrawing existing products for a lack of data could be a problem.
The one side that we have heard is, I don't have enough data to allow the product on the market, so stop. You don't want to take a risk. But I think we have to also realize that if we say, we have to think, do we have enough data to keep the product off the market? If you keep the product off the market, you also take a risk. It's another risk, but we have to balance them. And I think just saying we don't have enough data, we stop it, that's not justifiable.
After 2 hours of exchanging views on the legislative review, it was time for David Mackay of the European Medicines Agency in London to sum up. For each of the sessions, he covered the key principles accepted, areas where there's consensus, and those where more discussion is needed. It was then only left to Declan O'Brien to say farewell and to close the conference for another year.
We've expressed a lot of views. We've identified where we agree. This was very much our objective in having this conference. We've identified areas where we need to work a little bit harder to find solutions. And I think whatever I do, whenever I find people in solution-finding mode, it's really great, because then you move things forward. So we've identified some of the issues. Now let's go away and work on finding solutions that will really move us forward.